Hello and welcome to episode 58 of the Anger Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Alastair Duhs, and over the last 30 years, I have taught over 15,000 men and women how to control their anger, master their emotions, and create calmer, happier, and more loving relationships. As always, I want to say thank you for listening to this podcast. I know that you have many choices when it comes to podcasts to listen to, and I am grateful that you have chosen the Anger Secrets podcast to be part of your personal growth journey. In today's episode, I am going to share a recent interview I had with Paul, the 54-year-old man who joined my online anger management program after his girlfriend gave him an ultimatum. Get help for anger or their relationship was over. Like many people I work with, Paul had been struggling with anger issues for most of his life. He'd even done therapy for anger management, as well as attended a face-to-face anger management program before, but had not found anything that worked for him when it came to his anger. Before I get into Paul's story, however, I want to remind you that if you are struggling with anger issues or know someone who is, my comprehensive online anger management coaching program may be the solution you're looking for. Over the last 30 years, I have used the tools and techniques in this coaching program to help thousands of people to control their anger, master their emotions, and create calmer, happier, and more respectful relationships. I would love to help you too. You can find out more about this powerful coaching program at my website, angersecrets.com. I look forward to hearing from you and helping you on your anger management journey. Now, with that said, let's move on to my interview with Paul. Just tell me a bit about yourself.
Single father, but I'm in a serious relationship right now. I have 2 teenage boys and hopefully soon to be 2 teenage stepdaughters. I'm 54 years old. I have 1 sibling, a brother, and yeah, that's about it, really.
Cool. And what brought you to the anger course?
An actual awakening from my current girlfriend. My anger was getting out of hand. The stress level was through the roof. I was trying to sell a house. I was trying to buy a house. I was trying to keep 2 houses afloat because I'm actually living with her. And yeah, my stress got the better of me and I was constantly snapping, given somewhat of an ultimatum. It was like she said she didn't know if she could go through with this with me because it was just like walking on eggshells at times.
Did you have any idea she felt like that, or was that kind of news to you?
We did have a few arguments over the last 6 months. And I kept on saying to myself, I can't behave this way. I can't behave this way. And then 3 days into it, I would do it again.
Yeah.
And I knew something was wrong, but it was like it was contagious.
The anger was contagious?
I believe so. The anger was contagious. Like it drove me to go there. There was always a justification.
And what were those justifications? What were you thinking?
Being disrespected, not being heard, being misunderstood, being taken advantage of. This is what was going on in my head.
Yeah. So like you said, always just justifying how you responded?
Yes.
And what effect do you think the anger was having on your girlfriend or your children or her children?
Not good at all. Not good at all. They didn't know if I was going to stop at any given time. They started to become scared of me. I didn't like when I heard that. It made me feel bad.
Okay. So your girlfriend gave you this ultimatum. What was it like looking for an anger management course?
I had taken one before. She's not aware of that. It was in a group session and it really didn't do anything for me. And I started to go online and I was going to go see a therapist. And I actually decided to go on podcasts and I saw yours pop up and I'm like, okay, let's try this. And I started to hear that you have these little 5-minute to sometimes 8-minute little blurbs and it hit home. A lot of the stuff made sense. And I was like, you know what? This actually might be for me. This actually might work because I wanted it. I didn't want to lose this woman and I just didn't want to continue to be the way I was being.
Do you know what made an impact from the podcast episodes? What kind of hit you the most?
Relating to people, understanding these other people that were being interviewed.
And then,
and just things that you would say. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I get it. I could relate. It wasn't like going to a therapist and hearing them say something and going, what? I don't understand that. Like, I could totally relate to everything. And I didn't compare, because some of the podcasts where there was physical abuse. And I never once said, well, if I get that bad, I could relate. I could understand, even though I've never hit anybody out of anger.
But you could relate to how they were responding?
Yes, I could relate totally. I could understand where they were coming from. I could understand what you were trying to tell them. So I'm like, okay, what have I got to lose?
And how has starting this course been for you?
It was easy. They're small modules. I can go back to them anytime I want. I've made notes myself. Lately, there's constantly something going on in my head about something that I've heard or read or written down myself, right? And the biggest thing for me is awareness.
So say some bit more about the awareness. Like how has that impacted you?
So I become aware when I feel something going on inside my body. My heart starts to pound. There's a bit of a palpitation. I'm like, okay, here we go. Okay, there's no reason to get this way. I call it talking myself off the ledge. And I remind myself that, you know what? It's easier just to calm down, think about this for a second, because if you lose your mind right now, you are going to have to do damage control for possibly days over something that might take 15 seconds to say. So I'm still trying to pick and choose my words wisely. And I have a tendency, the way I was brought up, where you just blurted out what came out of your mouth. So I'm trying to reprogram myself.
So there's some cycles of abuse or violence you're trying to change?
I believe I was brought up in a very angry household. I do truly believe that. And that was the norm. There was no physical abuse, but there was mental abuse with some of the words and phrases that were said. And I just don't think my parents knew any better, because that's the way they were brought up. And I remember an individual that I was very close with, who I haven't seen in a very long time. We spoke about my parents and my upbringing, and he said, your parents did the best they could do with the tools that were laid in front of them. So now I think to myself, I need more tools. I just don't need the tools that my parents have given me, because some of the tools that they have given me have been great, but I need other tools. And that's where this program comes in.
It makes a lot of sense. And how do you think the change process is going for you so far?
It's gradual. I'm going to take the odd step back. I don't want to be the type of person to say everything's lollipops and rainbows, but it is gradual, and that's the best way for it to happen, actually.
And why is that?
Why is gradual the best way? Because that's the normal way, if that makes sense, because I've always been about wanting instant gratification. And I realize I'm now at 54 that the world does not work that way. Any progress is going to be gradual.
Yeah, I like it. And you sent me an email just after starting the course about the impact on others of your anger. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember that. Because, and the reason that started to hit home is, again, these podcasts and hearing these men and women go on how it affected their significant others, siblings, family. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize the mental abuse that much. I knew it was abusive, but I didn't realize how abusive it was. And that kind of makes me realize that, yeah, this has got to change.
And have people noticed a change in you so far?
My girlfriend has. She says she's happy that her best friend is back. Some people at work have.
What do you think your girlfriend's noticed?
Calmer, pausing before I open my mouth, telling her constructively when I am angry or that something has upset me. I know a couple of weeks back, she said something about money or something. And I waited a bit and I said, that kind of hurt. Whereas before I would have just snapped. All I said was, that what you said made me sad. And she apologized.
So the effect of saying something like that hurt was much better
than losing my mind.
Yeah.
And saying, how dare you say something like that to me? All I said was, that comment that you said, that kind of hurt.
Wow. And was it easy or hard for you to say that?
It was easy. That's topsy-turvy. I think I'm basically just I'm a marshmallow, because a lot of times when I used to get angry, a lot of it was because I was sad or hurt.
Do you feel you're getting better at expressing those feelings now?
Somewhat, yes. I have my stumblings. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a gradual process.
If someone was listening to this episode and relating to some of the things you're saying, and also thinking of maybe doing my course, what would you say to that person?
I'd say give it a chance. Give it a chance, because it's made me understand quite a bit more about me. You've been very helpful. The modules are small. I can go through them a bunch of times if I want. It's not like you're being bombarded with the stuff. Like other people have said, it's at my own pace, and it's understandable. It's very understandable. The tools are there. And if I have to go back and read something that I wrote, or go back and do the modules again, your program works. So I would highly recommend it. The simplicity of the program has made me aware more. There's no words in the literature that I have to go grab a dictionary. It's simple, which is good, because I think a lot of people, including me, if I see something that I don't understand when I'm reading it, I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with this. Realizing that there's quite a few people in this world that suffer from the same thing, or maybe suffering isn't the proper terminology, but there's a lot of people out there with anger issues, makes me feel that I'm not alienated. I'm actually normal. I'm just happy that there is a program, because I'm looking on the internet. Okay, what am I going to do here? And then I see you, and I go to this anger sequence, and I'm like, okay, this is making sense. This is making sense. And just the aspect of you actually interviewing me in the beginning before I even signed up. I'm like, who is this guy? Who takes the time to actually speak to somebody? Like, that says a lot about you, that you want to help people. So I'm like, if there's an individual out there like that, then let me try this. What have I got to lose?
Okay, there you have it, my interview with Paul. I'd like to thank Paul for sharing his anger management journey with us. I hope that his story resonates with you and provides you some valuable insights into how it is possible to control your anger, master your emotions, and create calmer, happier, and more respectful relationships. As Paul said, to make these changes, however, it's all about being open to getting help, taking that first step, and reaching out to myself or another professional and getting the tools and techniques you need to make a change. That's exactly what Paul did, and I hope that you do the same. Remember, learning to control your anger is a process and takes time. But with the right tools, techniques, and support, you will make progress far faster and more easily than you may think possible. Okay, there you have it. I Need More Tools, Paul's story. If you found this episode helpful, please follow this podcast or head over to your favorite podcast app and leave a rating and review. This will help other people struggling with anger to find and benefit from this show. For a free training on how to control your anger, master your emotions, and create calmer, happier, and more respectful relationships, or to book a free 30-minute anger assessment call with me, visit my website, angersecrets.com. And finally, remember, you can't control other people, but you can control yourself. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.
The Anger Secrets podcast is for general informational purposes only, and does not constitute the practice of counseling, psychotherapy, or any other professional health service. No therapeutic relationship is implied or created by this podcast. If you have mental health concerns of any type, please seek out the help of a local mental health professional.